So before we go ahead and kind of get into installing these on the vehicle and everything like that, I want to do a quick unboxing just to show you how you receive these lights. Now, when I purchased these lights through Vette Lights, obviously I get a sticker. I've got my invoice here and everything. And I want to take a second to appreciate the packaging. I think it's really neat that they've got custom boxes as a collaboration with Morimoto here to show you that it's obviously a collaboration with Vette Lights. It's really, really cool, and I love that. So upon opening up the box here, you can see that obviously we've got both sets of items in here. So I went ahead and I ordered the fog lights as well as the side marker lenses. I'm assuming that these are the side marker lenses. We're gonna put these off to the side here. But here we've gone ahead and got the fog lights themselves. So you can see we've got the shroud here for the fog light. Very neat. This is what's gonna go into the bumper. We've got the other shroud here. Looks like a Vette Lights keychain bottle opener. Pretty cool. Here's the plugs that you're going to use when you kind of put the wiring pins into them, and your hardware that you're going to be using. And here is your XB fog light itself in its little housing. Very, very nice. Now you do have to obviously install these into the fog light surround. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like now. Once you've got everything opened up and unpackaged, you're going to pretty much have a similar layout to what you see here. One thing I did want to show you is that you've got the hardware here. So you can see you've just got some little self-tapping screws. And then one thing to note with the back of the housing itself is right on the top here, you're going to see top left hand. And on the opposite one, you'll see top right hand. And then on the back of the fog lights, you're going to have what corresponds to that as well. So left hand top, it's obviously going to go into the left hand housing facing that way. And they just drop right into place here. So you can see I've got the fog light itself. Literally just drops into the back of it here. You'll feel kind of the tabs fall into place right on the side here. You've just got the one tab and you want to pop that in and then just go ahead and tighten in the screws. Now you're tightening plastic into plastic, so don't go crazy on this. Otherwise you're going to strip them out. Just take your time, be careful, and then you will have them fully assembled. So I'm going to go ahead, take my trusty screwdriver here, throw in my 3 screws per housing, and I will show you what they look like fully assembled. Here's the unit in the housing. You've got obviously the fog light here, the surround itself. When it goes into the bumper, you're going to have these little 2 tabs up here that will click it into place. And then just looking at it from the back here, you can see we've got the 1, 2, and 3rd screw down here to kind of hold this all together. Here's the wiring that you'll be pinning into the connector, which you'll see later in the video. But that's it. Everything sits flush. Sits nice. And there's what it looks like, all in the housing, ready to go. Now that you guys saw the unboxing and how all that works, I'm going to show you actually how to install these on the vehicle. So you're going to want to go ahead and lift and support whatever side of the car you're working on. So you've got the driver's side and the passenger side, and remove the wheel. Once you've got the wheel removed, it's pretty simple of what you're going to do. You're going to see that we've got some screws. These are, I believe, a T15 or a T20 along the fender here. You got 3 push pins up inside the fender, right here, there, and there. And then we've got 3 bolts underneath that we're going to remove, which will allow us to remove this whole wheel liner. So once you've got the fog light assembled kind of the way I showed you in the last clip, you're going to take out this wheel liner there with the T15s, the 3 clips, and the 3 screws on the bottom. You'll pull out the liner, and then you'll have access to the fog light housing on the inside to remove it. So once you've got the fender liner removed, it's very easy. There are just 3 screws on the bottom of the fog light housing down there that you're going to take out. So you remove these 3 screws that we're looking at on the bottom and unplug the fog light housing, and this whole thing is going to come out. The fender liner is really easy to remove. It's just the things that I was showing you. On the bottom there, it is 2 7mm screws and then a push pin. So that's it. So I've got the fender liner removed here. We're going to go ahead and pull the housing out, and we'll show you what we're working with. I wanted to take a minute here and talk about the factory lights before we go ahead and show you the rest of the installation process here, just to show you kind of what you're upgrading from. Now, these lenses are plastic, and they're older GM plastic. The C6 generation came out, like I said, in 2005, so this isn't the greatest quality plastic. I've even seen on very low mile cars, and you can see it on mine here, a lot of this is dirt, but a lot of this is also kind of like, you can see the plastic is getting kind of foggy and delaminated. A lot of the plastic will fail over time. It'll get pitted from road rash. And then at the end of the day, you're also stuck with ancient lighting technology. This bulb in here, is just a halogen bulb. Yes, I've seen people go ahead and throw LEDs in there. I've seen people put HIDs in there, but then you're going to deal with light scatter. When you do what I did and go with these Morimoto lights that have the projectors, they're LEDs, so they're going to use less power, they're going to run cooler, and it's a projector, so it's going to have better light output and aiming and a cutoff on the road. So this is just kind of, I wanted to show you this ancient big housing off the car, and that's another benefit as well. The Morimoto is much smaller. This piece is huge. I just wanted to show you this off the car just to get an idea of how gigantic it is, and weight reduction too. The Morimoto piece is also lighter than this unit. So between just modern lighting, big, bulky, heavy, old, weathered units, that's part of the reason why I upgraded. With the fog light removed, we're going to give you a better idea here. That's what we're looking at. So you just see you've got 1, 2, and 3 holes on the bottom. They're super little tiny self-tapping screws. And then we've got the 2 tabs on top that hold it in, and that's really it. You've just got 2 tabs on top, the 3 screws on the bottom, and that's out. Here you can see we've got the new one in my hand. We've got these 2 tabs up top here, the 3 screw holes in the bottom. Now some people say they reuse the factory screws. Some people use the Morimoto screws. I'm gonna see which ones have longer bite and then go ahead and use those. But I'm gonna go ahead and place this in the car now using those 2 tabs up top, and then screw it into place. Once we've got it into place, we're going to take the plastic covering off of the wiring here, plug it into a factory loom, and see if we've got it backwards or not, and then we'll check it out. I was talking about test and polarity just a few minutes ago. So one thing to watch out for is you're going to want to, obviously, you have to make these plugs yourself by pushing the connectors into the plug. What I read online kind of held to be true, at least on my driver's side here. So you've got a black wire and a black wire with a white stripe. The black wire with the white stripe to make the fog light works corresponds with the maroon brown kind of wire, and then the black wire goes to the black wire. Doing this allowed it to work flawlessly for me on this side, so we'll see what it looks like on the passenger side. But on the driver's side, that's how it works. And then I did end up reusing the factory screws to hold it into place. You're screwing into plastic, so don't go overboard. It doesn't take much torque at all to install that. But that's pretty much it. So we've got the plug wired up here. You can go ahead and just tuck that up out of the way. I might throw a zip tie on it here just to keep it more out of the way. But that's it. This fog's installed, and we'll show you what it looks like on the front of the car. Here's what it looks like on the front of the car now. So you can see we've got the LED fog in there. Fits very well and goes pretty well with the car. So I'm very pleased with that. I'm gonna go ahead and do the passenger side, and then we'll show you what it looks like all finished up. Wouldn't you know it, when I finished that last clip that you saw in this video, I was working in the garage and I was hoping I'd be able to take the car outside, drive it to a nice scenic parking lot or forest reserve, and take some pictures of it. Well, it ended up becoming dark and rainy by the end of that, and so I wanted to wait till the following day, and it was snowing. So unfortunately, I'm gonna lay some photographs over the video here so you can kind of see what the end result looks like with all the lights powered on. But I'm not gonna be able to get any kind of live video for you right now just because I wanna get this video out and it's cold and snowing in Illinois right now. Overall thoughts on these fog lights. The installation was actually way easier than I expected it to be. You'll honestly spend more time raising the car and taking the wheel off than you will on this actual installation part. The wheel liner comes out very, very simply, as you saw in the previous clips. Polarity testing is pretty easy. Like I said, you do want to take those metal pins and push them into the connectors before you go ahead and wire the pins into the plug itself that's provided by Vette Lights there. But it's easy. So you've got 2 wires on the fog lights from the Morimotos. They're black, and then one with a black and a white stripe in it. The black and the white stripe goes to the maroon/brown wire on the Corvette wiring harness there. So once you get that, you're all good to go. Just some little things to note. The screws from the factory that secure the fog lights to the body of the vehicle are super tiny. So you're threading them into plastic. They don't require a whole ton of torque or anything like that. But just be aware that those screws are very, very small. It's easiest just to put them with like a socket and an extension and just screw it into the bumper there. No need to go crazy with anything electric or even a socket wrench for the most part. Otherwise, you're gonna risk cracking or stripping stuff there. I love the way these fog lights look. I really think they bring a modern appearance to the front end of this car, and they are a pretty close match to the HID headlights. Now, if I do kind of get myself driven crazy of the color difference between the headlight and the fog light, I could always go ahead and throw some LED bulbs or even a newer, different color HID bulb in the factory housing. I don't have any interest in putting the Morimoto C7 style headlights on my Corvette, just because one of my favorite things about the C6 is kind of that exposed projector look there with the painted inside housing. I really kind of like that about the C6 Corvette. So if I change that, I'd be taking away one of the things I like most about the looks of the Corvette. But all in all, I love the way this looks. If you can tell in some of the pictures, I went ahead and I added the ZR1 style front lip to the car, as well as the Vette Lights LED side markers. Those will all be separate videos, but it all kinds of ties together there when you're seeing that front end of the car and just kind of that little section there. I'm very, very happy with how this turned out. If any of you are looking for these fog lights, I highly recommend purchasing them directly through Vette Lights. They've got a collaboration with Morimoto. You could see that in the packaging earlier on in the video. But Cole from Vette Lights is super helpful, very, very responsive. They ship quick, and if you need anything, they are there to help you out and kind of walk you through the process. So big shout out to Vette Lights. Make sure you check out their website. I'll have that linked in the description down below. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of these lights. I really like them. I'm glad how they were very easy to install, and I love the finished look of them. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video.